Stephen A. Smith, First Take, Big Perk, all together, came on today and gave huge compliments towards Caitlin Clark, huge praise. And not only there, they were on Twitter as well, giving love to Caitlin Clark, and people seem to not like it.
Stephen A. Smith just snapped on live TV, and this time, it wasn't about LeBron or the Cowboys, nope. This heated moment was all about the WNBA MVP race. And right in the center of it, Caitlin Clark Stephen A. went off shouting, pointing, and sweating so much it nearly fogged up the First Take cameras. It felt less like a debate and more like a full-blown sermon, echoing all the way to the parking lot.
Stephen A., she is just different. She's special. Just a different type of electricity, man. Did you hear the roar of the crowd while that shot was in flight? Like, I'm expecting big things from her, especially in...
Stephen A. Smith just lost it on national TV. And no, it wasn't about the Cowboys or LeBron this time. The spotlight was on the WNBA MVP race. And right at the center, Caitlin Clark. When Stephen A. starts pacing and throwing words like thunderbolts, it's less a debate and more a performance. And this one hit Broadway levels. He didn't just support her for MVP, he demanded it. Loud enough to shake the First Take set. Sweat flying, fingers waving, and passion through the roof. If you weren't already on board, you might be now. Stephen A.'s fire might have just convinced your conscience. Think Caitlin Clark will win MVP? Let us know in the comments below. Don't wait.
Remember this, last year, in her rookie campaign, it was immediately after she had gone to the national championship game in the NCAA tournament, and then less than 2 months later, she's got a WNBA season where she started and played all 40 games, finished as a unanimous Rookie of the Year, all WNBA first team, finished fourth in league MVP.
Let's be honest, subtlety has never been Stephen A.'s thing. This man doesn't whisper, he erupts. When he talks hoops, it's not a conversation, it's an audible earthquake. And this time, the epicenter wasn't Madison Square Garden or Crypto Arena, it was Indiana. Why? Because Caitlin Clark's electric encore demanded even the loudest voice in sports media to crank the volume to max.
Caitlin Clark, she put on a show in her old stomping grounds in Iowa versus Brazil.
Now, the WNBA's most dangerous sophomore, the walking ankle breaker and queen of has officially entered Stephen A.'s obsession zone. From the moment Caitlin Clark stepped into the league, pulling up from deep like it was a free throw, you knew Stephen A. was destined for a full-blown DEFCON 1 meltdown. Well, spoiler alert, that moment has arrived.
I think she's ready. She know it's her second year. She know what type of physicality it's gonna take. Look like she's always in great shape, never afraid of the moment. Again, we're talking about Caitlin Clark here. The spotlight been on her for years. She's not gonna shy away from it. I expect her to be in the MVP conversation.
In what can only be described as a verbal volcano fueled by caffeine, Stephen A. shattered the sports media sound barrier by saying what many think, but won't dare admit, Caitlin Clark might be the real MVP. Not maybe later, not someday, now. She's the kind of player who makes veteran defenders question their life choices and keeps rival GMs up at night, wondering how they let this happen.
I'm looking at the regular season, leading all rookies in scoring, field goals made, three-point field goals made, assists, steals, and minutes. She's the real deal. Make no mistake about it.
And this wasn't some half-hearted take tacked onto the end of a segment. No, Stephen A.'s rant was serious business. You could practically hear the ESPN cameraman praying for a commercial break as he launched into a full-blown hot take ballet. He made one thing crystal clear. Caitlin Clark isn't just part of the league. She's taking it over. She's dropping dimes, firing off logo threes, and turning elite defenses into viral memes. Somewhere between a disruptor and a superstar, she's rewriting the game in real time.
What does she mean to women's sports?
I just think that she's elevating the profile of women's sports in a way that most women should deeply appreciate. She's a phenomenal player. She's a phenomenal shooter. I call her the Steph Curry of women's basketball. I've been calling her that since last year.
Let's not act surprised. Stephen A. didn't just hop on the Caitlin Clark bandwagon. He's been riding shotgun since her Iowa days, hyping her as a mix of Steph Curry's range, Diana Taurasi's fire, and Sue Bird's floor general genius, all with a flair tailor-made for social media highlights. But this time, he wasn't just suggesting, He was commanding. He didn't float the MVP idea. He declared it. "Why are we even pretending there's a debate?" he barked. "How many more logo threes do you need to see before we just hand her the trophy?" Translation: if Caitlin Clark's not at the top of your MVP list, you might want to turn in your analyst badge.
You want to promote the sport. You put that girl up in there, and people were appalled at that notion.
Stephen A. didn't just weigh in on the MVP debate, he took it over. His fiery rant wasn't a hot take. It was a full-on public service announcement. "Every fan is sold out," he declared, blasting his sports media megaphone straight at the MVP voters. And honestly, Fever Arenas have been screaming it all season. Is MVP even enough of a title? Let's pause and appreciate just how unreal Caitlin Clark's rookie year has been. This isn't a strong start, it's a basketball fantasy. She's treating triple teams like warm-ups, dropping needle-threading passes from half-court, and putting up stats that feel ripped from a video game.
What's crazy is you had Monica McNutt, Andrea, Shanae, all on the panel right before the game, and they had a graphic, an interesting graphic that popped up showing that Caitlin Clark had the best odds to win the MVP this year, and man, I wish I could hear what they were saying.
The data nerds can try to break down her complex stats, but the firing rate is ridiculous. And let's not forget the ripple effect on the national conversation, arena energy, ticket sales, attendance, and merchandise. The crowd numbers? Up. Opposing defenders? They need new ankles, and probably a trip to the ER after getting caught in the Caitlin Clark blender. This isn't just a player, she's a cheat code. The WNBA may have accidentally unleashed an unstoppable force, and now no one knows how to handle her. While most second-year players are still figuring out how to tweak defensive rotations without looking lost, Caitlin's draining game winners, calling the shots like a floor general, and signing autographs mid-dribble like she's running the offense.
Start with our 2025 WNBA MVP, and that has to go to the one and only Caitlin Clark. You can say I'm glazing, you can say I'm hyping her up too much, but I truly think that this second year for Caitlin Clark is going to be like nothing we have ever.
Stephen E.'s outburst couldn't have come at a better time. And honestly, the delivery was just as powerful as the message itself. He brought the zeal of a tent revival preacher, the theatrical flair of an obsessed fan, and the conviction of someone who's seen greatness across all eras and knows it when he sees it. At one point, you half expected him to levitate or throw holy water at the production crew. It was pure chaos. Vintage Stephen A.
You got a girl here who's box office in Caitlin Clark. She is box office. We can lament it all we want to, but the fact of the matter is Caitlin Clark is box office. And we got to get that out the way. And I'll get into all of that a little bit more in just a second because it's very, very important that we point this out. She fills seats. She brings the cameras. She brings national publicity.
Meanwhile, you know the gatekeepers and traditional WNBA journalists, those who still cling to the old guard as the league's face, must have winced. Why? Because traditionalists are most rattled when the loudest voice in sports backs a generational talent for MVP. Instead of waiting for her moment, Caitlin Clark is taking it. And Stephen A. recently gave her the highest recommendation possible. So, if you're still convinced someone else deserves the MVP, it might be time to accept what ESPN producers, Vegas oddsmakers, and 15,000 chanting Iowa fans already know. You saw this coming. And that girl is Caitlin Clark. Stephen A. can't go 5 minutes without dropping names like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and Michael Jordan like seasoning in his favorite dish. The man's thoughts practically read like an NBA Hall of Fame speech. But when he's tearing through legends like they're unlocked in a 2K fantasy draft, you know, each name is more iconic than the last, and every dramatic declaration echoes the arrival of a new basketball royalty.
Talking about her. And who's to say they ain't gonna lose again and not win a championship? We're still talking about her. Remember, when Bird and Magic, as phenomenal as they were, the champions that they were, there came a point where despite the greatness of them as individuals and the greatness of their teams collectively with the Hall of Famers they were playing with, we were still talking about Jordan. Before he won the title, Tim, am I lying? Wendy, am I lying? We were talking about him. When's his time? When's his time? Because we were clamoring for it. And I'm telling you, that's what people when it comes to women's basketball are going to be doing with Kate.
It's possible Stephen A. didn't even realize this. Or maybe he didn't need to say it. Caitlin Clark doesn't need to be the next great thing. Not the next bird. Not the next miracle. She's not fitting into anyone's legendary analogy. There are no prerequisites for the legacy Caitlin is carving out. She's rewriting the entire list. No stereotypes for her, just a player who casually drops logo threes and walks away as if nothing happened. The only Caitlin Clark is Caitlin Clark, and that's more than enough. She's a phenomenon. I've been saying this for years. She's the Steph Curry of women's basketball. Whether it's college or the pros, she's electrifying, while Stephen A. was out here verbally sparring with his co-hosts and tossing out sports cliches like a metaphor slam contest. Something real was happening under all the spectacle. Clark isn't just a shooter, she's a walking highlight reel. She's a point guard with Jedi-level court awareness and a surgeon with the ball. She's the kind of player who defies gravity, even if she's a scorer. Every game she touches feels like an event horizon. Of course, no Stephen A. special is complete without some wild comparisons. One moment, Caitlin Clark is Steph Curry with better aim. The next, defenders are extras in the horror movie she's directing. But here's the thing, none of us have truly felt it until now. Caitlin's breakout is like Neo in the Matrix. Everything slows down except for her. With a single blink, she's at the edge. And after 2 blinks, she's dropped a viral video with 200,000 likes and a clever caption.
Is a superstar. I've been saying it for years. I'm telling everybody she's the Steph Curry of women's basketball, college or pro. She is a super.
Indeed, discussing the MVP title is about more than just flash and bling. It's about collaboration, effectiveness, leadership, impact, and a basketball purity checklist. Caitlin Clark looked at that list and simply added, "Yeah, and I did it all while changing the league's entire energy." After running through every box and then circling back to check again, she made it clear the Indiana Fever, once seen as the WNBA's answer to a struggling NBA team, now pose a legitimate threat. Opponents, they're working overtime to script new techniques just to slow down a rookie. The WNBA's schedule, it's starting to bend to accommodate her. TV cameras, they're practically on standby. Ghost towns aren't arenas anymore, they've transformed into gladiator coliseums. At one point, Caitlin Clark showed up, and honestly, there might have been a fire code violation with how packed the place was.
And to speak to her, to be around her, she's got charisma, she's got style, she's got bravado, she's got class, she's smart as hell. Communicates her thoughts very, very well. She is so incredibly marketable.
To boost ticket sales, try a ticket explosion. There's never been this much excitement around dunking since Lisa Leslie made it headline news. But this time, it's louder, faster, and going viral in the blink of an eye. Fans are skipping rent to sit courtside. Security's on high alert. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is casually throwing logo bombs like it's just a warm-up. Now, here come the skeptics. Clinging to their dusty laurels from last year, they rise from their Twitter drafts to whisper, "She's too young, too fresh, too unprepared." Same tired script, recycled again. With phrases like earning it and paying dues, they conveniently overlook the fact that Caitlin Clark is already the most popular figure in women's sports. And maybe all of sports, period.
Into the WNBA, you could just feel, I don't want to use the word resentment at all because it's not fair to women basketball players out there who may have critiqued her. But what I'm saying is that when you're talking about her greatness, it is perfectly okay for those who have been great to say, okay, let's see what you...
This is the truth. Seniority means little when it comes to MVP. Impact, that's everything. And Caitlin Clark's impact goes beyond video game stats. She's affecting the very weather of the league. Every coach is now on high alert, terrified by the storm she's about to unleash. The matchup nightmare? No one wants it. MVP isn't just about the season's best. It's about creating the most daunting problem for everyone. And Caitlin Clark, she embodies that problem perfectly. These days, every opposition game plan starts with her name, underlined, highlighted and circled in red. Coaches are getting less sleep, scrambling for ways to stop her. But no matter how many defensive tactics get thrown at her, Caitlin is out here dropping 28 like it's just a Sunday stroll.
I love this one. I really do. I love this young lady. I had the pleasure of doing an event with her, during I was homecoming, because my man Mark Shapiro for WNBA took me down there, and we were panelists. 10,000 people showed up. It was absolutely phenomenal. This girl is the best.
There's more to Stephen A. than just venting. This time, he went nuclear. You'd think Caitlin Clark had stolen his parking spot based on how he erupted. But behind that volcanic outburst, affection, pure, unfiltered awe. Stephen A. rarely shows this level of reverence unless your last name is Brady or Jordan. Now, let's talk about the shift in the atmosphere. Caitlin Clark's influence isn't just confined to basketball, it's seismic. Everywhere she steps, it feels like the Super Bowl is in town. Coaches now travel with camera crews during pre-warm UPS, knowing the whole world is watching. Rival players, some are switching defensive assignments just to avoid becoming the next victim of Caitlin's viral crossovers. ESPN, it's practically a Caitlin Clark channel at this point.
Some people think she's already arrived. I don't. I think she's going to be even better. And I think that what she has done for women's basketball, especially in this country, has been phenomenal. There is no matter how great you were at...
Back in the studio, Stephen A. is practically speaking in multiple languages. His voice is a hybrid of a gospel preacher and a malfunctioning fire alarm. Meanwhile, the other presenters are sprinting for cover. The sound guy's hammering the mute button like he's trying to pay off a debt. But Stephen A. keeps going because the reality he's delivering is undeniable. Caitlin Clark isn't just a player, she's a phenomenon. And that's not an exaggeration. What's happening is a seismic shift in women's basketball. Twitter's blowing up. Stats are flying around like confetti as players across the league realize Caitlin Clark wasn't just invited, she came to take command.
When she came into the WNBA, 22 plus years, they had been flying commercial. They were begging for charter flights. She arrives there, and 2 weeks later, they got charter flights. She automatically and instantaneously improved the conditions. Attendance is still lagging. WNBA is still losing money compared to what you would hope it would earn, but clearly things are on an upward.
Like breathing, Caitlin Clark just scores. She handles her teammates as if they're in a medical facility, calm, composed, and in control. She accepts compliments with a grin, as if you should have already known. Double-doubles are just another day at the office, while her defenders are left questioning their career choices. Sure, there's competition for MVP. Nafisa Collier, Brianna Stewart, and Asia Wilson all come to mind, but Caitlin Clark's talent goes beyond simply being good. Her play is generational. It's the kind of season that makes you rethink everything you thought you knew about what a rookie can do.
Proving, and she has everything to do with it. Attendance for Indiana Fever games? Are you kidding me? WNBA draft, games on ABC, ESPN, television ratings. She's directly...
Even though Stephen A. sounded like he was summoning the basketball gods with every line, the message was clear, despite all the theatrics. Caitlin Clark isn't just famous, she's proof. She's power in motion. And if you still think someone else deserves the MVP, you haven't been paying attention. As the season goes on and Caitlin continues to smile while defying the laws of physics, remember what Stephen A. said, this isn't normal. This is extraordinary. And that's what makes it commendable. We own this moment. We're not here to chase grandeur, we've come to claim it. Our goals are bigger than headlines or highlight reels. So, if you thought we were just here for the ride, 2 more for the boss. Now you know, we're not just here for the moment, we're here for the takeover. If the MVP truly reflects impact, achievement, leadership, and change, then Caitlin Clark has already won. Every logo, 3 she shoots with the poise of someone swatting a fly. That's just another line on her resume. So, stick to your traditional methods if you must. Keep believing she needs more experience. But after she drops 40 and crushes your team's playoff hopes, don't be surprised if she's signing jerseys before walking off the court. Because if Stephen A. Smith, the king of bombast and volume first ballot Hall of Fame president, can't help but crown her MVP, then she might just be it. And the rest of us, we'd better catch up. If you think Caitlin Clark will win MVP this year, let us know in the comments below. Hurry up, like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you don't miss anything. See you in the next video. Click the next video on the screen.
I think Clark being in the MVP conversation is kind of the baseline at this point. You know, she's already been that good as a rookie, and I imagine she's going to take another step forward. I mean, we talked about how that Olympic break was so good for her to get some rest and come in with her legs underneath her. Now she has an actual off season, you know, that she got to take off where, you know, she didn't play on Unrivaled, she didn't play overseas. So this is a lot of time for Caitlin to just get her body right and come in the best shape possible for this upcoming season. And I think that's going to pay huge dividends for her. Like there's no like ramping up period this time around for Caitlin Clark. She's going to come in on game one and be already one of the top 5 players in the WNBA. So I mean, I think MVP has to be like the ceiling for her, right? Like she's already in that conversation. So for her to, you know, get even higher in the vote total, potentially win that award either this year or next is what I would expect from her.